Good morning.
Morning.
Yes.
So glad it's Friday.
Yeah. Well, we can go ahead and start. We got three of us on here.
Yay.
The three important ones.
Yeah.
Market gal, crypto guy, and whatever that third
God.
guy is.
I hope you say something super positive. I'm so disappointed in Bitcoin this year.
Uh,
Let's
you
save
gotta
it.
maybe wait until next week. I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right. Well, you want me to go ahead?
Nah, it's only 9:30.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's chew
Some
the
people are
fat
just
on
getting
Ethereum. I can't believe Ethereum is below 2000.
really.
It's $1,991. I was
Wow.
like, what the hell is going on? And I got out of Solana, but uh, I thought it was going to rebound. I was like, I got
Yeah.
to move on to something else. But it's $81.15.
Yeah, I think they're all tanking right now. For some reason.
Yeah,
Why? Aaron,
there's
I can't wait to hear what you're going to say.
yeah
Yeah.
there's two big psychological like supports with Solana at 80 and then Ethereum around 2000. But I think if we get any relief, it's not gonna last long. So I think those supports are gonna break within the
Yeah.
next couple or
Oh
by
my
the end of
God.
the maybe in the next like 3 or 4 days, but we'll see.
Well, we do have a
Yeah.
full moon on Sunday. And just on the positive side of the full moon, it's a blue moon. And
Wow.
so it's the second full moon that we've had this month, and it's in Sagittarius. You know, Sagittarius is all about travel and thinking about like, where do I want to go next? You know, Sagittarius throws an arrow up in the air and just sees where it lands. And so, really, the message for this moon is to think about your direction. What direction do you want to go? And our lives are supposed to really change in the next 6 months, and it'll take us to the next to the full moon in November, which I believe is on the 24th.
Oh,
So you've got a couple of days to think about it, but you're like, and it could be, you know, like fantastical, like, oh wow, I've always wanted to go to India or whatever. So the people we talk to, the groups you associate with, all that is going through a restructuring over the next 6 months. Might make new friends.
well, I think in terms of what the market's going to do, just my opinion, I don't think there's going to be much action until we see something out of the Senate with some clarity. And once that
Mm.
happens, maybe things will change. I think everybody's sitting on the sidelines holding on and just seeing what's going to happen. And
But
so
why? Why? I
they
mean,
have to have
there's so much
clarity
liquidity in the stock market. I was like, why can it not bleed into the crypto market?
because it's not regulated the way that needs to be regulated for some of these people, I think, to put their money in it.
I think a lot of
I
the
just, if I had a
liquidity,
crystal ball, I wouldn't be sitting here.
yeah, I think a lot of the liquidity that's leaving crypto is moving into stocks with the sure
Chips.
the stock market's doing great, but I mean it's the AI sector really that's holding everything else up in my opinion. But a lot of that is crypto liquidity that's kind of gone over there. But
I think you
um,
could be right. Yeah.
yeah.
That's what I did have. You know, just some overall themes, and semis are just on fire, and some of them are up 150%, like in a month and a week. You know, I guess 5 weeks has been ridiculous. The Sox is up more than 64% in a month. So you're right. I think $350 billion went into the market uh, like April 10th, something like that, and it just market took off.
Hmm. Well, why don't we get started with our usual call here on Friday? This is the longest running discussion of crypto in South Carolina, and we gather every Friday at 9:30 to talk all things crypto and additional ideas that are going on. We start off usually with our market reports from Patty and Aaron, our two superstars when it comes to talking money. But this is not financial advice. This is just a conversation and possibly a learning atmosphere for you to do your own research. So, Patty, we'll ask
Okay.
you to start it off. Thank you.
All right. Well, the market has been on fire. The Dow is up 300 points. I checked an hour ago, so the numbers might have changed. Dow's up again this morning, but 300 points, and that is 0.6%. S&P is up 153 points. That's 2.06%. NASDAQ is up 773, well, 74 if you round up. And remember, a few weeks ago, I was like, wow, it's hanging around 24,000. And when we started the call, I was like, hey, it went above 25,000. Now it is about to reach 27,000. As
Yeah.
of close yesterday, it was 26,917. The Russell 2000 was the best in percentages, 4.79% over the last 5 days, 134 points. So it's about to hit 3,000. It's 2,937 if I round up. Gold has been flat. It's been pretty terrible if you're interested in gold. Is down $6.10 over the past 10 days. That's 0.13%. It's just stuck at 4,500. Silver is only down $1, but still that's 1.3%. And it had popped up to 82. Now it can't get out of its own way. It's like 75.80. At least it was this morning. And I think well, gold is up, but I can't see silver. The 10-year is down. It's about 1 point since last Friday. So it's at 4.41%, which I think has helped stocks.
Mm.
And crude is, I hate to say plummeted, but it's down. At least it was about an hour ago,
Mm.
$87.63. So that's almost $10 since last Friday. And the dollar is steady. It's remained at 99 cents. So it's lost 0.31. I want to say 31 cents, but that doesn't make sense. So really, Aaron mentioned this, the semis are on a tear, and it's mainly the memory chips, but you also have the CPUs that AMD makes, and Micron is now valued over $1 trillion. I can't remember if that was Tuesday or Wednesday that it joined the $1 trillion club, and that stock
Wow.
was $90 last year. I could kick myself. The projected price is 1,500 now, and I didn't check it this morning, but it was $900.
Good
Um,
Lord.
AMD a month ago was hovering around 197, $200. Yesterday it was 518. So I do think people are double ordering. Whoever needs these chips. So
Mhm.
the reports when they were reporting, they're just like blowing out the numbers.
That's interesting.
Nvidia, yeah, I think they're afraid there's some kind of helium shortage because of the Strait of Hormuz problems. And so people are worried they're not going to be able to get the chips that they need. So there is double ordering, but anyway, it's been crazy to watch the numbers every day. CPE came in yesterday and it came in as expected. It's 3.8% over last year, but if you take out energy and food, it's at 3.3%. So that's the core. So at first the market dipped, and then they were like, well, it's just as we expected, and the market took off. So yesterday was another good day.
Interesting.
So I think things are looking good, unless there's some kind of crazy event, like we start bombing Iran. It feels like the market is just going to continue to go up. Yeah.
Crazy. So, did you see where Russia was selling some gold at $4,800 an ounce?
Wow.
Yeah,
Um,
no,
Turkey had to sell, excuse me.
no, go ahead. Turkey had to
Well,
sell.
so when the war started and the Hormuz Strait was closed up, a lot of countries um, needed to purchase oil and they didn't have dollars, so they converted their gold to dollars to purchase oil. So
Okay.
that's one reason I think gold has gone down. And China had to do the same thing. Turkey is the other country. Um, I don't know about Saudi Arabia, but so that's why a lot of gold was sold
Well,
off.
the report is that Russia sold it. They sold 900,000 ounces for about $4.3 billion, basically to help offset their falling energy reserve um, revenue. Sorry, energy
Yeah.
revenue. So while the price of oil is up there, the ability for the Russians to get it out is evidently not as easy.
Hmm.
So interesting that there are others that are having to sell gold as well. So
Yeah.
anybody else selling gold on here? Yeah.
No, I'm holding on. I think gold, and this is not financial advice, but I looked at JP Morgan's estimate, what they think gold will be, at the end of the year is about 6,300. So I'm hanging in there.
There you go. All right, Aaron, if you'll give us a minute or take a
Yeah,
minute
hey,
and let's
yeah, good
hear
morning.
from you.
Um, I'm on the other side, a little contrarian with the precious metals. I think you're going to see a pullback, but I'm pretty bullish this morning in general. Um,
Yikes.
the as far as crypto goes, especially, I think right now anything's outperforming Bitcoin, Ethereum, and most alts. I should have went all in on Pokemon cards. If you're if you're tracking that, they're calling that a bubble, but some of the prices and it's pretty absurd how much that's blown up. And it's not just kids that are collecting it too. It's blown up as a legitimate alternate investment that a lot of people are diving into. And a lot of it's getting tokenized and not so much cards, but similar to like gold when you would buy, you don't get the gold bar, but you own it. In the same way you can buy these cards, um, and they're held by somebody or they're rated. But that's interesting. I'm anxious to see how that unfolds. But yeah, it
Well,
was a
so,
much
so am
better
I
investment.
now because I still have a big stash of them that have been here
Oh, wow. You could be
Well,
rich.
if you
from my
have some.
kids.
Yeah, if you have, I would definitely price them out because I'm talking like some cards that were valued at like a couple $100 are now like $3,000, $4,000. Like there's a big multiple. Um, there's cards selling like frequently for a couple $100,000. If you have like the original Charizard or some of those other ones, and you have to get them rated mostly and send them off to where they give you like a 1 through 10 rating on the quality of it. But even if they're not, I would look into it or take them to like a card shop or I mean they have apps now though too where you can just scan it, and it
Right.
uses AI to compare it and it'll say, hey,
Yep.
this card sold on eBay for, X amount. But
It's funny.
but
So,
yeah, as far as
yeah, go
yeah,
ahead. I'm
crypto,
sorry.
yeah. So with Bitcoin, um, this whole 70 to 80 range kind of that we've floated around in, I wasn't too excited, really, unless it breaks up through 80 pretty strong and holds. But I think the next time we get close to it, we're going to see an even bigger drop, in my opinion.
Oh,
Um,
why?
so
Why? Why? Why?
so there's a pretty big range there, and I think as far as the fundamentally with the Clarity Act, um, there's not a lot of, I think, catalysts at this point to like push it up. Sure, maybe like the end of war or some of the AI liquidity filters back into crypto, but um, kind of this chop though, really until end of quarter 3, start of quarter 4 is when I'd start getting kind of more excited about Bitcoin and crypto. And you got Michael Saylor, hinting at potentially selling, and
Oh my
um,
God.
but he was doing some, which had actually marked the bottom. It was the low point when he announced that he would potentially sell some. It actually bounced, and that's the local bottom right now, which was kind of funny.
Yeah,
Um, but same. I'm not too really bullish on Ethereum either. I think some of the like a different play if you're looking for a more quality alt, and it's got a lot of hype, pun intended, but hyper liquid.
Yeah.
Uh, that DeFi, exchange and what they're doing with tokenized stocks, and I think it was the not the CEO of the New York Stock Exchange, some ownership or some representative of the New York Stock Exchange has been
Jeff
in,
Sparker.
yeah, and they've been in talks with them as well, which I think is extremely bullish for them as a platform, and they're outperforming the market. It's pretty much they hit an all-time high, I think, the other day, and kind of bucking the trend.
6260.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's one to watch for sure. And they have, if you dive deep into their kind of their tokenomics and all that, they have pretty good airdrop or like reward systems for using their platform. Um, of course, it was the best at the beginning, but still, there's a lot of opportunity, I think, there as far as a long hold or one of those DCA opportunities. Um, what else? I didn't have too much really news wise overall. I think um, bearish to kind of wait and see what happens. So sitting
absolutely.
on my hands and trading some meme coins here and there because they yeah, they always have something new. I think the most recent one I saw was a Donald Trump buffalo out of like Indonesia that they're that they're trying to pump up. It's an albino buffalo that has hair like Donald Trump. So I thought
Oh
that was
my
pretty
God.
funny. But, uh, but yeah, that's all I got, George.
Oh, that's great. That's great. On that issue of Clarity Act, I'm gonna be with several hundred other people, I'm sure, with Lindsey Graham Saturday. I hope I get a second to ask him to get me in touch with one of his aides to get someone from Tim Scott's office to join our call. I've got several people working on that angle, and so hopefully we'll have some good news in that area, sort of help us figure out what they're hearing in the Senate. I keep hearing it's going to pass in a couple of months, and so June, July, maybe August. I don't know, but who knows? But maybe we can get an actual human to join us and tell us a little bit about what's going on up in Washington with the Clarity Act. So keep in touch with that and let's see how that goes. Uh, Regarding the pump, and I did want to sort of craft the conversation here, and I'm starting to rethink how we're talking, but with some news items that kind of just quick snippets of things that are going on. That's why I mentioned the gold issue. But I also wanted to mention this, um, and I'll mention in a second about the pump and dump scheme type thing. Um, but did anyone see this news about the balloons that are taking the kamikaze drones up in the air and then launching them?
No.
Anybody see that at all? So this is being done in Ukraine by the Ukrainians. So they've been able to float these balloons up with the drones. And what it does is when they launch the drone has 95% of the power because it doesn't need to utilize some of the power to get launched. And so it's got longer range. And so just kind of an interesting technique that it has nothing to do with crypto, it has nothing to do with them. It's maybe an
Yeah.
emerging technology. That's about as
Easier
close
way to
as I can
kill
get.
people. Yeah. Oh
Or any
gosh.
way to get their drones further into, I
Oh,
don't know. Anyway, it's a mess over there,
I
but That's another
Yeah,
one.
George, I got one for you in relation to that. There's a squirrel or a squirrel hunter that this guy's going viral, and it's also a meme coin. But he has a drone that he's programmed with AI and connected a BB gun to it
No,
to hunt squirrels while he's at work. So he'll get notified and it targets in and everything too. But I thought that
Heck,
was
heck,
that's a
kind of
terrible story, Aaron. My
no,
well. I
gosh.
mean,
get in
he might.
houses. They get in houses and can cause thousands of dollars of damage.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I would buy that technology in a moment. Yeah.
Oh,
All
gosh.
right.
Oh,
Squirrel
well, let me say
lovers. That's what
something
we're going to start
positive. The
calling you.
Nasdaq just crossed 27,000.
Wow.
That's a milestone.
It sure is. Now, when's
Mm,
S&P going to go above, what is it?
8,000. Hell,
8,000?
it could
Yeah.
pass it this year if things continue on this way.
Woo. Crazy, crazy. So, on the,
Let me add something here real quick if I
sure.
may, George, on your drone comments. I had a conversation last week with a contract AI contractor for the federal government. He's a prime contractor and implementing AI in multiple agencies. He got more. They've been instructed that the defense is very focused on drone impact on warfare. And with what the Ukrainians have done, basically has schooled everybody on how to create resistance, asymmetrically using drones. And consequently, we've seen the impact of how soft our targets are in the U.S. So there's a huge effort going on at the federal level right now to start, really identifying locations like our port, whether it's amphibious drones, and make them resistant, harden them to an amphibious drone attack. Airspace, I mean, it's substations, I mean, things you can take out with a 30-06 right now. So, we're going to see a lot of spending, I think, in this direction very soon. And it could impact South Carolina dramatically. Um, I'm working with this contractor right now to see how we might get all this into South Carolina and what we're doing with South Carolina Emergency Tech. So
Wow. Dennis, always got that mind going. Thank you. That's
fortunately,
great.
I got some good neighbors. So,
That's terrific. That's funny. So, just real quickly, I wanted to bring this up about the FBI had. Let me see if I can get this info in front of me. Um, so, and maybe you've heard about this, but what they did was they launched something called the Next Fund AI, and it kind of looked real. The FBI launched this token. It looked real, but it was actually fake, and it was designed to catch scammers. So they had the token, they had the website, they had a white paper, they did tokenomics, they had $100 billion supply, promising passive income. So what they did was they went out to some of these known characters that and asked people to help them market this. And so they got several people, several firms to come back in. One said, "Yeah, we'll take it on, and we can in 6 hours we can pump it up to $1 million." And then another one said, another company, My Trade is called. It said it was recorded saying, "What we'll do is chart like a roller coaster. We'll just get it up, and we'll run it up in retail, and then we'll just dump it." And then another company was to offer their bot trading platform. So anyway, the end result was they crafted the tool that scammers use for their own project, and they have I think they've already put them in. They released this information recently, but this anyway, caught 18 people, seized $25 million worth of assets. And the crazy thing is, shortly after they announced this, somebody cloned the project and and after they shut it down, they ran off with $127,000 worth of so they kind of scammed the FBI scam. But anyway, the
Hmm.
point was that they did find some bad actors, And I think what the alarm is that this technology is now known that the scammers can't necessarily count on that the efforts that they're making to pump and dump a token is not the FBI. So it's kind of interesting. I thought that was kind of fun, and just thought I'd throw that out there. And but that
Yeah.
gets kind of to where are we? We're almost at 10 o'clock. So
Yeah. Hey,
yeah,
George, I can add on that a little
sure.
bit if you don't. So what's kind of funny is there's multiple cases throughout the years too where the undercover feds or undercover they'll get on Twitter Spaces, they'll pretend to be these buy these big accounts though too, and they'll run these projects. I still think they're way behind the curve, like behind the curve in what the scammers are able to do, the pump and dump schemes, because it happens every day, multiple times a day, especially on Solana, with different projects um, and how they do it and the different. I mean, there's people with 20 different X accounts that pretend to be 20 different people and create
Mhm.
a community and create a token and get volume in a matter of minutes. And they'll live stream doing it. They'll be on Kick or Twitch and have followers doing it. And you're just like, and they'll make, 50 SOL a day, 100 SOL a day, and just sit there and rinse all these retail people that are just following along, and they'll use their following. And I mean, it's a really, really dirty system and corrupt system, like at the core, where a lot of these guys are multimillionaires sitting in,
Mhm.
Indonesia or somewhere
Yeah.
safe, operating from their,
Yeah.
big setup, and just ripping people off every single day. And I think the FBI and like feds, they're so far behind, that there's a ton of catch up. That's why they end up employing or like consulting with
Mhm.
like Zach XBT or people that have been in the space to at least get some sort of an edge, because it changes so quick.
Well, I think that's what you important that you mentioned that this is a lot of offshore activities.
No, it all
Yeah.
gets back to failed policy. I mean, really,
Well, there's no
and not
policy.
I mean, not having policy,
Yeah, exactly.
and running all the legitimate um, projects offshore.
Yep.
Pure and simple. So what was left? The whack-a-mole,
Yes.
group. I mean, pure and simple. So I say go after them. Go after the college kids that are scamming their friends. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
Well, you
I mean, just letting it happen just condones it further.
So
Yeah.
one of the big things too, with you've heard, all these exploits from all these DeFi companies, but a lot of that, like if you're not too naive, a lot of those companies that build themselves up to appear legitimate, and then, oh, we had an exploit and lost this $100 million. They're if you look more and more into that, sure, there's some that are legitimate, but that's part of their like business model. Their plan is to build themselves up to appear legitimate, obtain all this liquidity, and then, oh, hey, we lost it, and then who's going to sue them? Who's going to hold them accountable? Who's going to, that's where you have that, and it's going to take people holding them accountable, doing that due diligence, digging into them. To kind of set that standard. Because right now the standard is, hey, oh, oops, move on. Twitter and crypto people mostly have the memory of a goldfish, so it's
Right.
it's just kind of like, what's next? Oh, it happened again.
Yeah.
Well, the good news is, blockchains are forever, right? And you have tremendous amounts of forensic
Mhm.
information there that you may run, and you may hide, but it doesn't mean you're going to hide forever. So try to take those proceeds off, turn them into cash somewhere. Perhaps there's an off ramp that gets identified and somebody gets out later down the road. You know, Law enforcement's always catching up with the bad guys, and so many people do get away with a lot of stuff. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so it's
I
just
think that's
Besant said we wanted to, stop this. We needed to have that Clarity Act passed so we could get
Right.
onshore uh, guardrails. Yeah. So anyway,
Hmm.
so that brings us also to the news that Kraken has secured a Fed master account, and I wanted to sort of talk about that a little bit. First of all, has anybody used the Kraken platform?
I use Kraken.
No.
Okay,
I use Kraken. Hmm.
yeah. So they have, I would say they crossed the finish line first. There have been several they asked for, and several years ago, I think 6 years ago, for a Fed master account, and then Custodia Bank uh, was a second. And they had this interview with one of the Kraken guys, and he sort of talked about the stepping stones that they had to walk through to get where they are today. And one of the first things they did was they worked heavily with the Wyoming Special Purpose Depository Authority to get licensed. And so that gave them some credibility. And it also, evidently, they helped Wyoming craft that. And I believe Caitlin Long was with Custodia Bank was initially involved with that effort as well. But when they did that, they got an ABA routing number, um, which allowed them to obtain accounts. That was in 2022. So this effort's been going on for a while. And then they worked with Wyoming to have a constructive process. And then the Kansas City feds over the years helped them craft their product so that they are where they are today. And they've been adding, and Kraken has also been adding traditional offerings as well, something called Ninja Trader. Does anyone know about the Ninja Trader? I just find it. I don't know much about it.
No.
Okay, but it's a futures trading platform that was crafted back in 2003. A guy named Raymond Dew, and he sold that to Kraken in 2025. So they've merged into that traditional offering as well. So I guess they lined up all the stars, and then the Kansas City Fed agreed to allow them access to the Fed master account, and they call it a light version, which means they're given a year and they have certain restrictions, and then there are others. But I think the big point is that the number of people who've lined up behind Kraken and Custodia to get a Fed master account is large, and one of them is XRP. And many of these, are digital, have now getting a digital bank and are trying to have closer access to the money. And there's a number of things that does. But has
Hmm.
anybody heard about this or know about this? It's just gotten on the
Oh
radar
yeah,
because it
that's
was
a big deal. Yeah.
yeah. I think
Reba, you follow it much? I would imagine Reba's on top
Yes.
of this. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, I'm following it. Yes. And it all was propelled by the Genius Act being enacted last year.
Right.
And so now you have all of these different neobanks lining up to get their charters,
yep.
and they're not looking to become a full bank, fully FDIC'd and all that. What they're looking to do is just be able to move money in and out, deposits, withdrawals, so they can facilitate the ecosystem of trading within
Yes.
the crypto system.
They they say that it gives them better risk management, it gives them operational efficiency, and it also ability to scale their financial instruments. So it's a big deal, and I think there are others that are lined up. Custodia, I don't know why they didn't get. Well, I mean they
They're,
may
Custodia is
they're
still in
have to
litigation. Yeah.
probably
yeah,
so.
they're blacklisted by the Fed. They'll never get
Custodia's
it.
got a different situation. Yeah.
Good to know.
which
Um,
also George
You don't
Anchorage,
think
I
they'll
think
ever get one, Reba? That's interesting.
No, I don't think they will.
Huh. Okay, interesting. I
I'm
mean,
guessing.
she's
This
been
is
front and
not
center.
investment advice.
No,
That's
but I mean,
right,
she's been
Daniel.
so front and center, with everything from that standpoint. I imagine, if they're holding back, it's because, I mean, it's the discretion. What the decision was that, the Fed has discretion on who gets a master account. That seems to be the thing that they're hanging on to.
Yep.
And if it obviously, I think it's at the it's gone through Court of Appeals. Supposed to go to the Supreme. I mean, if they take it to the Supreme Court, it'd be interesting to see how that plays out in the long run. I mean, well,
Yeah.
that
I mean,
would
what
be the
is the
final step.
Supreme Court going to say? Because to your point, they have, Dennis, as you said, the Fed has full discretion to make decisions on who gets the license and who doesn't.
Yeah,
So is the Supreme Court going to say that that discretionary authority has no basis in law? I mean, that would
yeah,
be draconian.
Wow.
yeah. The only way I can see that being narrowed is if they looked at it in context, with the whole Operation Choke Point 2.0,
Yeah.
and recognizing that, that this was, I mean, maybe there's some email somewhere, some burning, some smoking gun that says we're not giving her an account under any condition whatsoever.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
it
Right.
would seem to me that discretionary aspect of it would be just that. If
Yeah.
there's malice or intent, then that's a different animal. But we won't know that until it goes to the Supreme Court, I guess. So,
Right.
but I
Right.
mean, that doesn't seem to be slowing Caitlin down. I mean, obviously, she's really focused on tokenizing deposits, and obviously, it's still a state chartered bank. So she has correspondent relationships, but she's just not that one step closer, to the Fed. So
Yeah.
there's activity going on. There's business going on.
Right. She has partnered with a bank in Texas. I forget the name of it. So that they've integrated her platform into their banking. I don't know if it's enterprise level, but definitely within their banking infrastructure. And
Yeah.
so they're offering stable coins and the like to their customers through that
That,
platform.
I think that was the bank that had the model, that was, where Coinbase was backending them. I forgot it now. I think it started with a V, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, it starts with a P. I think
P,
a
okay.
P.
Yeah, okay. VOP, whatever. Okay. Fair
I mean, I can't remember, but yeah,
enough.
So
right.
it's so this decision, it evidently it set off, or maybe Trump already had this in mind to do, but he signed an executive order shortly after this decision was made. Do you think there's a direct tie, or do you think that?
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
anyway, it was called the Integrated Financial Technology Innovation and Regulatory Framework. And basically, it said he wanted in 120 days, he wanted to have expanded access to the U.S. payment rails from non-banking or non-bank digital asset companies. And so in 90
Including
days,
his own.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, I was gonna
sure.
say the reason he signed that and gave it a timeline is because his family's gonna benefit.
They already have an application to get a
I
charter.
knew it.
Yeah, a
Oh my
ton of them
God.
do.
Vantage Bank is the bank that, you know,
Oh,
custodians
yes.
associated with.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. You were
And
right.
who's
Well, this will also benefit us in South Carolina. Okay, we have the project that, is working toward building an exchange in South Carolina is Frank's project, Metafied in up in Myrtle Beach. And so, one of the things we've had, internal discussions in is, I mean, just on and off ramps. I mean, pure and simple. How do we keep the dollars in South Carolina, for the transactions and the trades, that are being done. So a skinny account, with a Fed is the way to do that. So
Mhm.
I fully expect, Metafied to be probably one of the first in South Carolina, to go after a bank charter this time.
Well, some of the others that were mentioned are Ripple and Anchorage Digital. We know them are seeking similar access to the central bank's payment infrastructure. So we'll see if Anchorage gets in there and Ripple. I think just that Ripple and that XRP are just they're in the news almost every day. So anyway,
XRP
just
just had a big announcement. I saw it, but I just don't recall what it was.
you talking about Ripple?
No, XRP just had a big announcement.
Oh, XRP.
Somebody they were associated with. I can't remember who it is right now. I just
Yeah,
saw
I
it.
mean, almost every day they align themselves up. But I just wanted to finish up. We're 10 minutes after. Maybe we'll spend another 10 minutes talking on the last. We talked about DTCC, which is the clearinghouse for the transactions that do a lot of transactions overnight, and they're going to tokenize some of their custodial assets. And that's been a discussion that we've
Yeah,
had.
that's in partnership with the exchanges, like for example, NYSE and NASDAQ and the like are doing.
Yes,
They're creating their own infrastructure to facilitate tokenization of securities. And then just this week,
yes.
Paxos received SEC clearance to be able to provide clearing and settlement for securities.
Who
Uh,
did?
Paxos.
Paxos. Okay.
And it's the first time that any blockchain native platform has received approval to do that. So they're going to be competing with the DTCC.
Oh, okay. Competing with them. All right, that's interesting. Let
What's the
me
T stand for?
No, I
trust.
just saw that. Yeah.
Digital transaction?
It's
DTCC.
depository
No, no,
trust
no.
clearing. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, please. I have
I'll
to look it
Google
up
it.
myself. It's Depository Trust, I think, Clearing
Yes.
Corporation.
Clearing corporation. Right.
Gotcha. Okay.
So let me see if I can play this real quickly. This is I'll show this on my screen if I can uh, uh,
I
manipulate.
think Aaron was trying to say something about
He
Anchorage
he did want to say
earlier.
something about Anchorage. Anchorage.
Maybe he's gone.
Oh, no, I was just gonna, I thought they had already gotten approved. Or they were one of the first ones, but maybe for the master account. But there is a podcast with that Nathan Mollendor, the CEO, and it's on like their main website, but he goes into detail and explains the why they're pursuing it and why more and more people are going to pursue it. But I also think after Kraken, crypto.com too, they're kind of like leading the way, I think, for US centralized exchanges. But yeah, there's some good information, and that CEO is always talking about it.
So our friend Paul Fligg, who's not on the call today, he is a big advocate for XRP and for XLM. And I really wasn't familiar with XLM that much, but Paul knows it fairly well. And they are involved with this DTCC tokenization project. And I wanted to play a little announcement from the CEO. So if you'll bear with me for a second, I'm going to share this screen. Does everybody see that? It should, let me
Yeah.
see if it says share. No, you should see it, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right, here we go. Let me play it for you. It's just less than a minute.
Today, DTC's tokenization service announced its plans to connect with Stellar. DTCC is the backbone of global capital markets. 50 years of post-trade infrastructure and $114 trillion in custodial assets. And starting in the first half of 2027, DTC tokenized assets are expected to be available on the Stellar network. That means US Treasuries, ETFs tracking major indices, constituents of the Russell 1000 on a public blockchain with the same investor protections, entitlements, and safeguards as those that are currently held in custody today. We've spent more than a decade building a network that institutions can depend on. Stellar was built to move institutional volume, meet compliance standards, and manage risk from day one. The Stellar network was truly built for this moment. Today, DTC's.
So, um, thought that was kind of interesting. Let me see about stopping the share here. There we go. Man, I'm getting pretty good at this.
Break it down on, I mean, why do we care?
So,
Is
yeah,
this
so
helping us trade crypto or trade stocks or?
So you'll be able to go on I mean, what I hear is that you'll be able to go on the Stellar network and be able to buy these tokenized assets anywhere in the world. And that's kind of the idea of tokenizing
And
real world assets. How am I doing, Reba?
yeah, absolutely. And to your point, it provides mobility, global
Mhm.
mobility for investing in these kinds of assets. But also it shortcuts the time
Yes.
tremendously.
I
So
don't know. I'm gonna let
Yeah.
y'all test it for a year. It sounds like they'll just take your money.
Well,
well,
This is
something with Stellar is, I think it was one of the first cryptos I bought in like 2017 or 18. So I mean, they've been around for a while. They're, I'd say, one of the more reputable um, companies, and they were known for their transaction speed too, even
yes.
back then. So the fact they've been able to adapt and stay relevant, and not kind of fall off is something. But yeah, I would put them as more um, kind of, yeah, like I said, reputable.
Yeah. So, and so I'm going to wrap this up with just a thought here, and you can feed me back some input if you want. But I'm thinking about us maybe taking some different tokens that are relevant and will be more relevant if we get some clarity out of the Clarity Act, and maybe doing some deeper dives in them a little bit. And I'm thinking like XLM for those who don't know that, for XRP, for HBAR, and there's a number of people who I know and enjoy and understand a lot of these projects that um, have been on the call or are on the call. So I think that's one thing I'd like to do is maybe we take a particular token and talk about their utility, how their strength, their protections, and so we can understand a little bit more about them if we want to look a little bit deeper, and along with other things that we'll talk about, um, and maybe the idea of AI merging with tokens to be able to pay. Um, the number of machine agents that will be making transactions and how to pay for those transactions in the digital world. So, got a lot of stuff on the plate, just trying to sort of put it together and make it sense. But I'm hoping I can do that. We'll see. All right, it's 17 after. Anybody else got anything? Dennis, you want to give us a highlight on anything you're going on? Anybody else want to, Les,
yeah,
how's your project going? And then let's get out of here.
yeah. We continue to move forward with Ascend SC as our framework and vision for the Ascend project in South Carolina. We're putting together a consortium of of different groups. I've had meetings this week with Americans for Prosperity. Um, I want to recognize Keith Wilcox. He and I got together yesterday and looking forward to partnering up with Georgetown Credit Union on this project. Obviously, had a meeting yesterday with one of Google's consultants, and they're on board. He's going to advise Google to hopefully shuttle some funds in our direction. So the game plan here really is to put together a comprehensive education program between now and September 17th, the conference date, and begin that education process. But one thing I want to mention real quickly is just in looking at, I mean, I just saw an X where the state of New York has implemented restrictions on lathes, 3D printers, requiring basically a permit, to purchase these things on the basis of gun control. I mean, talk about you know, complete overreach here. I mean, it is. I'm just doing a quick analysis on it to see what it actually says. But
Interesting.
Because
yeah,
it
but
can
I mean,
actually make a gun?
well, it could,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, so you have open source
Wow.
yeah.
software that can print a gun. Yeah, absolutely. So, So
Hey,
that
it could be a stream of revenue. I thank you. I've just now got a new stream of revenue.
yeah,
Yeah,
there you go.
licensing fees to
Licensing
use a
fees
printer.
for
Yeah,
to
I
use a
mean,
printer.
this is they just continue the war on appliances and all the things that requiring security checks. I mean, a number of things. I mean, I'm just looking at this at the summary right now, and you know, I guess it just goes to show you, we've entered an entirely different world, where the state is actually trying to shut down productivity machinery as well as I guess just try to get everybody into line in some manner or another. It's just
Yeah,
just
interesting.
all on the basis that you can print a gun. Okay, well, you can take parts and put one together also just as easily.
Right,
So
exactly. Dennis,
when
let
you
me ask you this on isn't one of the core purposes of a SIN privacy of your digital privacy or
Well,
uh,
that's the direction we want to move it in because their vision doesn't go that far right now. Their vision is really primarily to automate the DMV and provide a mobile driver's license, similar to what other states have done. But we know because other states have done it,
yeah,
that doesn't work. Your mobile driver's license is about 5 layers up when it comes to identity. So
yeah,
identity under the federated model that Utah, has proposed, and they've actually been the first state to implement it, starts at the base level with your phone and your private key, public private key, with your identity embedded in your phone, and pretty much any wallet, can address that, and then you build your identity on top of that with, whether it be your birth certificate or your voting record or your driver's license or and then you have different
right,
verticals of identity. Your law degree
right.
or your accreditation, your
So,
regular
Your
licensing,
credentialing.
yeah,
credentialing, yeah, across the board. So yeah, so it's
okay. Well, let's try and follow
so
that a little bit and see how that
you know
goes. And
the
I know there was some.
the digital bill of rights. Let me just add, the digital bill of rights is a big component of that because that's really where Utah got started. And I've actually posted that to one of the anti-data center rants on Facebook. And I was really, I mean, it's the first time I posted that what we need in South Carolina is a digital bill of rights if we're going to have data centers in South Carolina. Kind of take that next step, for consumer advocacy. And I have been really impressed with the amount of people that that have either liked that or
Yes.
commented on it from that
Every
standpoint.
time
So
you tell a person about having digital identity privacy, there's definitely a thumbs up about it. I'm not sure they understand it quite, but I think that people feel that they are being exposed everywhere. So
well, we are, yeah. I
yeah,
mean, and
I
we know
I
that,
think they
yeah,
feel that. I think, but
yeah.
anyway,
I
all right,
heard
anybody else?
Japanese people are putting chips in their hand. So like if they need to go through the train station, they just raise their hand and it
Yeah,
has their identity, it has their pass, their pay pass to go through the train and everything.
Well, it's like that in
China,
your
China
car.
as well.
China's doing
Really?
that too. Yeah, so
yeah.
you just raise your hand, you're like paid. That is so crazy.
No,
I
they
mean,
don't
the
care.
real distinction here is whether the states control identity or the feds and big tech control identity. So we really have to have a very real conversation on you know I mean, who controls your identity? Really, I mean, you're
Yeah,
the one that's supposed to control your identity in the long run. So we've got language already drafted. We're looking for a sponsor, to actually advance that side of it. I'm hoping Representative Bradley will jump on. He asked me for a couple of weeks break. So I spoke with him yesterday. He said, "I just need a break." I said, "I
Yeah.
certainly understand." So,
yeah.
I mean, this whole
All right,
redistricting thing
let's
is,
give
I'm sure,
Les if he'd
taxing a lot
like.
of folks.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry, Dennis. Let me give
no,
Les
go
a
ahead, sure.
second to talk. Les, you got anything going on in the quantum world and the AI world you want to talk about? We lost Floyd, or is Floyd still with us?
No, he had to leave. He
Okay.
said he had to leave. I thought he said.
Yeah, I thought he said he had to leave too. Yeah. All right. Well, why don't we just wrap this baby up and Floyd, you want to share anything? I know you got a lot going on in your world.
Yeah,
I
they
think Floyd,
moved.
oh, there he is.
Yeah, they moved the meeting to 10:30 because I told them I was on a call. So
So you're still
yeah,
with us. Thank you.
yeah, we were at SOCOM demonstrating. A
What's
lot of
that?
demands. It's
What's
a
SOCOM?
special ops convention. There were 20,000 special operations members there and about 10,000 support people. Um, they just
Okay.
everybody kept asking us to show other technologies, so the product has advanced very quickly. Um, we did show redirect because I know there was a question earlier. I think Aaron was talking about the hackers and some of these uh, disreputable people. Redirect will help protect our clients from them. So they can attack everybody else in the world and leave us alone. But the AI quantum stuff, I'm amazed. None of the other cyber firms were even looking at the post quantum encryptions. They're like, well, we don't need them yet. And so I just kind of kept my mouth shut. We have all five running in our data protection plus the polymorphic. So yeah, I mean, I talked to Chairman Bradley Dennis also a couple weeks ago. Southcom's getting very serious about protecting the state data, but also trying to protect the citizens. So that's very, very encouraging. And I know you've been very helpful in that. I appreciate it also. So
Well, yeah,
I think
if I may add, the state is in the process of doing a study on how much compute they actually need. And that's an area we plan to have some input into so that we can work with them and really try to expand that vision. But this got shot down really by South Carolina Research Authority. We were they were basically told that they didn't need to have a state computer to do this, that we could work it in the cloud and and work with IBM on that side. So we're trying to dig into more of that as well and understand the rationale behind that. But a lot coming down the pipeline.
Yeah,
I mean, and
there is
we're
a lot
working
to talk
closer
about.
now with the trying to get the treasurer's office on a pilot program with Q Defense, and that's the quantum resistant blockchain based email that Floyd, I know you've been talking with those guys as well. There's just a lot coming down the pipeline. It's amazes me to that the um, uh, the gentleman I've been talking to, that I mentioned, the defense contractor, and Floyd, I want to talk to you about that because you're on my list of projects that I want to introduce him to. They have really no understanding of how to prevent AI fakes right now.
no.
And that I mean, and we've got so much available just within our little umbrella of groups, that we've been working with. I mean, your project, obviously, Q Defense, Veritex, Suremark, the Simple Proof, down in Guatemala project, the voting ID. So we really are on a leading edge of a level of technology that, I mean, it really is a matter of introducing a lot of this, I think, and getting people ramped up and understand what's going on here in South Carolina.
Right.
We got some great opportunities.
Well,
Yeah,
let's
couple
wrap it
of
up. Go ahead,
yeah,
Floyd. Sorry.
yeah, real quick updates.
Hmm.
Southcon just did a deal with SMX for all the cloud services.
Mm.
And we have a deal with SMX to integrate all our stuff into theirs.
Oh, interesting.
Actually, we're going to be approaching the state with the person in charge of that, Grogi, who's in charge of that account. We've been talking to Veritex, Jim and Rich. Actually, just sent them some information this morning because IBM's got some issues that they can help with and we can help with. But and please forgive me, Dennis, but the gentleman that helped do the original blockchain back in the
Yeah,
day,
yeah,
if you,
Scott Sonetta, yeah.
yeah, if you could send me his information, because we were going down a slightly different path, something that Les is somewhat familiar with, or I know Les has done something in the past that I think can be applied to protecting from AI.
All right.
And I just sent Les an email, had some good news
All right.
for some
Well,
stuff we're doing. Yeah, love to sit down with Scott
Yeah, I got it.
and see if we can
Oh, this is them.
work with him and come up with something because he's got a great idea and obviously great experience.
All right.
Um,
Is
the
that
other
one
Little
of
It's
kitty
Patty's
cat
yeah.
cats?
trying to make a debut.
Is
It,
that
it
one
is
of
it is
Patty's
rolling
cats?
out. If anybody's
Hey,
interested in, some, there's still a friend and family round that's still open. If anybody's interested, just give me a
All
buzz.
right.
yeah.
Well, let's
So
just
yeah,
get
hey,
out of here, and
hey,
everybody's got something else to do.
yeah, real quick, George.
Yes, sir.
Hey Floyd, I'm currently with SRC. We had a couple guys down at Soft Week too, but I work on the cloud services integration team and use kind of Salesforce with the Army and um, Air Force right now too. But I'm gonna reach out to you because I'm pretty interested in what you're doing and kind of what we're working on with AI and cloud services as well. So it's pretty interesting.
yeah, we've actually expanded redirect to be the framework underneath the NIST cybersecurity framework. The technology we've been able to add and we're trying to expand now. Yeah, I'd love to talk to you about it. Be great to pioneer it with Savannah River.
All right, guys.
Definitely.
All right. Everybody have a great weekend. It's is this the last Friday of May? Oh Lord, have mercy
It
upon
Thank
us.
is
goodness.
June
Thank
the
y'all.
1st,
Thank you,
right around the
Dennis. Thank
corner.
you, Reba, everybody else who joined us. We'll talk to y'all later.
Thank you. Could I
Thank
just quickly
you.
say that
Yes.
next
Yes.
week I'm speaking at a conference in New York. Dennis, you've attended that conference before. It was in Stanford. But anyway, if anyone's in New York City on the 3rd, please feel free to let me know. I'll give you a comp ticket.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
shoot me a note. I've got to actually, I won't be able to get up there next week. I'm planning to be in DC for the GBVA event.
That's
That's the following week.
June the 3rd, did you say, Reba?
Yes.
June the 3rd.
Yes.
Okay.
Close.
All
Yes.
right, everybody.
Reba, will you
Thank
be in
you.
DC the following week at that event?
I don't have it on my calendar, but we can
Yeah,
talk. I
yeah,
can figure it out. Maybe I could come down there and say hello to you.
yeah. That's Sandra Rose event. I can shoot you the information on it.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Great.
All right,
Okay.
Thanks,
y'all.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Thank
Bye now.